Hi, I'm Jackie, and I'm definitely outside my comfort zone, but I promised the team at Recovery Devon that I would do a quick little video for their Devon Dailies. In fact, I think they should be called Devon Daisies because then it would match in with the daisy that they talk about and use so often. So today I thought I'd share with you a quick little visualization that I started doing about 10 years ago and then used to share with a number of my clients that I had. But I think it's important to say to you first that actually I have anxiety. I struggle with going outside. I was diagnosed with ADHD in October last year at the age of 55, and then just a month ago I was officially diagnosed with Asperger's, again at the age of 55. So I'm still learning and being able to be a bit kinder to myself with the things that I struggle with, and that's okay. So anyway, this little visualization is something that you can do anywhere at any time. But before I tell you it, I'd like to give you a little bit of the background about how it came about. So it's called Ants versus Cats. And before I start, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. So, and I'm going to look at my notes. And I'm giving myself permission to do that, because it's all right for us to give ourselves permission to do things. Would you wear the same clothes that you wore when you were 2 or 16 years old? Would you watch the same programs that you loved when you were 10? Would you spend your money on the same things that you did when you were 8? And would you make a meal from last year's leftovers? Now, I'm guessing that for most of you, the answers may be no. And you might now be wondering what the relevance is of me asking those questions. So I'm going to give you a little detour first. And that's everything in life, as we all know, is based on what we think. That the thoughts that we think create associated feelings and emotions, which in turn ripple out into everything in life around us. So an amazing doctor, Dr. Daniel Amen, who's a brain imaging specialist, has done some research, and he has said that basically for each of us, we all have an average of 60,000 thoughts a day. That's one thought for every single waking moment of the day. And that then, of those thoughts, 95% of them are the same as yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. So a bit like a stuck record. Gosh, that can feel a little bit heavy. And 80% of those thoughts are negative. So out of the 60,000 thoughts that on average we have each day, more than 45,000 of them are negative. Now that can feel really heavy. And when I thought about that, it was a bit like, oh my goodness, no wonder sometimes I feel so down and so low. And then I thought, well, actually, if that's the average, it means that lots of people around us are suffering and struggling with the same problems and the same issues. Well, Dr. Daniel Amen, he calls these thoughts automatic negative thoughts. Now, this is where the ants come in of the little visualization that we'll do in a while. So we have these automatic negative thoughts. So I'm going to do another little detour because that does feel a little bit heavy. Okay, so did you also know that in an average dictionary that has 30,000 words in it, there are only 1,705 words that can be interpreted as positive? Oh my goodness, out of 30,000 words. Yet in that same dictionary, there are 5,890 words that can be seen as negative, disempowering, belittling, sniping, griping, or critical. Well, no wonder then that it's easier for each of us to think something negative rather than something positive, because actually there's just about 3 times as many words that we can choose from, so we've got a greater choice to find something negative than it is to find something positive. And also for many of us, maybe when we were growing up, people would say, be careful, look out, do this. And so we were given all these warning signs. So no wonder it's easier for us to think those negative thoughts. Now let's go somewhere else. Author Darren Hardy asks a question. Did you know that your brain is not made to make you happy? Interesting one. And so that might sound alarming, but your brain's key responsibility is to keep you safe, to keep you alive. So it's constantly on the lookout for danger. So, I'm lost for a second. I turned over some bits of paper, but not some of the others. Okay. So, let's go back to those ants, the automatic negative thoughts. We now know that it's easier to think a negative thought because there are so many more negative words in a dictionary than there are positive. We also know that our brain is not really designed to make us happy. It's designed to keep us safe and to keep us alive. And we're brought up with those things where people go, watch out, look out, be careful, take care. So all those like little bits and pieces around us are there. So, okay, going back to the automatic negative thoughts. When I heard about ants first, I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I don't like the thought of all these ants running around in my head. I also didn't like the thought of being average. I didn't want to be a statistic. I really didn't. So I wanted to try and find a way that I could help to train my brain to think differently. And that's quite hard for somebody who has memory problems. So one of the biggest things I struggle with in life is my memory. I can do something for a period of time, my routine can get interrupted, and I can forget that something I've done for months, weeks, years, whatever, I can forget all about it, and I have to start again, and it might be a week later, a month later, and sometimes years later, something crops up, triggers a memory, and I'm like, oh my goodness, when did that fall out of my life? So I have the ability to be quite negative with myself, and I know I've just gone off at a tangent. But that's okay. I'm going to give myself permission to do that. That's ADHD. So, I didn't like the thought of having these ants running around in my head. And so I thought I need to find something that's positive. So then I came across CATS, capability affirming thoughts. In other words, the thoughts about all the things that we are able to do, that we can do, something positive. And this came about, okay, we've got ants here, we've got cats here. And this brought about a very quick visualization, and you can do this anywhere, in the queue at the post office, sat in your car, at home with your family around you, and you're suddenly feeling a bit overwhelmed. And so the idea is, if you imagine you've got a kitten, and if a kitten was to see an ant on the floor and something moving, what would it do? It would dot it around and play with it until it's gone. So it's as quick as that. So the process is, catch yourself having a negative thought. In your mind, pat yourself on the back, because the second that you're aware of something, that's when you can start to make a change. So by patting yourself on the back rather than going, oh my goodness, I've just had a negative thought and feeling bad about it, go, hey, wow, that's fantastic. I recognized it. Now I can bring in my visualization. Imagine your cat, your kitten, whatever colour, fluffy, not. Imagine one of those really funny ones. If you've seen a funny video, just whatever it is that feels good and makes you smile. Bring in that cat, that kitten, and imagine it's seeing an ant. Then imagine that it's playing with this ant. And you'll find yourself smiling. You've broken the chain of thoughts, and that's it. You don't need to do any more. Just accept that you feel a little bit better. And if you need to do it again, then that's fine. Now, one of my clients many years ago said to me, but Jaki, I don't like cats, I'm allergic to them. So I was like, oh my goodness, how can I do this? So we had frogs. So it's a flexible response to ongoing growth. So just imagine you've got a frog on a lily pad that sees an ant, sticks its tongue out, misses it the first time, catches it the second or third time, and hopefully you're smiling. And then I could go, well, you might be vegan, and that's cruel. So I'm like, oh my goodness, find something. It's just whatever it is. And I'm sorry if I've offended, because it's absolutely fine to be vegan or whatever else. The point I'm making is that, wow, my brain automatically went into a new thought of, but Jackie, you've just suggested this, and they might be allergic to cats because you had somebody who said that to you once, and then you said frogs, and then you thought, oh my goodness, but if somebody, it's like, oh, what a cycle our thoughts go into because we're nervous. So have a try. I hope you enjoy it. It's really nice. It's really easy. Look, I've just got notifications coming in on my watch telling me that there are things I should be doing. But I hope that you enjoyed it. It's very simple and you really can do it anywhere. And I have to be honest, I used it for a number of years and then I forgot about it. And then I used it again and then I forgot about it. And this was something that then cropped up and I was like, when I was asked, what could I do? So I hope you enjoy it. Take care. I'm sorry it's been so long. Oh, 11 minutes. Forgive me. But have a great day. Bye.